in entirety. I'm just putting some background here so people know where I'm coming from. I am exhausted. So you're going to have to dig this out. But it's everywhere. But I know I've read it in no fewer than 10 or 12 articles, and put the one on screen that has the links to the mainstream news. I'm going to give this to Watson as a source right now. Listen to me carefully. Fuel rod at Fukushima reactor would be like Chernobyl on steroids by FDL, Kirk, James, Murphy, and MD. Now listen, this is what's key, my friend. This is what's key. I have read it in article after article, and we just had the guy that worked on nuclear submarines. He looked up the schematics of a Mark I General Electric MOX reactor that's 7% plutonium, 93% uranium driven. And I read this in article after article after article, and it's in that article. But you got to search the term spent fuel rods fire. Spent fuel rods fire. That will bring you up the up-teen-jillion. Because if I saw 10 or 12 I read without looking, and I just saw it in the footnotes, didn't know what I was seeing, I was like, spent fuel rods caught on fire, but they were able to put them out. And knowing that would release some stuff. Well, guess where they store it? And this is in the news, hidden in plain view. No one has picked up on this. People are saying, oh boy, if there is a fire with these, which has now happened, it'll be Chernobyl. Forget that, there was an explosion. They store on top of the containment vessel, inside, on top of it, inside the dome, inside the blast shield, the main overall containment dome, they store, because they're highly toxic and radioactive, the Mark I uranium, plutonium spent rods on top of it. And I know when he said it, bingo, because I read that in article after article after article, because at the other plant that blew up today, I think it was 4, they were storing them in there too, but it's a different design. At the Mark I, and he looked up the schematics, they are on top of it. So they're not with, so the media, don't worry, okay, we have a breach at 2, probably at 4, but it's only little. The seals may be broken, some may get out. The truth is they were storing inside the main containment dish over the internal containment of the active reactor, the spent fuel rods of the last bunch that the Mark I had used. It's been there for 40 years. And looking at it and studying nuclear reactors, I know what rod casings look like, and I blew up the video and saw black rod casings and set it on air yesterday when it blew up at Fukushima 3 that looks like the guts of a reactor. Well, of course, they've got all the old pulled spent batteries sitting there, still deadly radioactive, and so it was the big. It makes Chernobyl look like a joke, and Bob Bowman has now agreed this is as big as Chernobyl. It's going into, this is past that. You understand? Massive cover-up, Paul. They were storing spent plutonium, uranium fuel inside the overall containment facility over the sealed container over the active system. And it's all over the news. But it's hidden there, no one paying attention, no one understanding it. Took a guy that worked on nuclear submarines to call in and connect the dots. And this is horrible news, Watson, but we've got to warn people. So the issue is you can show that it's not just a fire at other areas getting into these, that if indeed they were storing the fuel rods, which you can find in the news from memory. Again, I've read this all, but I'm telling you now, we're moving fast. Look it up, find it. They were storing rods, the evidence shows, inside, not the sealed container, not in the sealed area, which they're now saying several of them are breached, at least one, but not just a seal broken, ejecting in that huge mushroom cloud, the last group or more of, the news is saying some of them have repeated groupings, into the air, and one particle of that, it kills somebody. Watson, what do you say about this information?
There's an NPR story which basically says the same thing, called spent fuel rods now a concern at nuclear plant, and it has a graphic which shows them stored next to the actual reactor core.
Yeah, but to be specific, so, yeah, in the Mark I, it's not within the sealed final containment. They are sitting inside of the overall containment facility that blew sky high. That's what we've got to look into. Yes, we know that in some of the other plants, they caught on fire the spent fuel rods. Hold on one second. My wife keeps calling me. Hold on one second. Hey, honey, I'm still on air. I'll call you back, okay? All right, the situation is deteriorating. Okay, okay, there it is. They have a map of it. Is that from NPR? And there it is, spent fuel rods. Blow that up so I can read it, please. Thank you. Okay, it won't get any bigger than that. Are they saying that's the Mark 1? We're not talking about number 4 that got on fire today. They're talking about, that's number 2 reactor that also blew up. And they're saying that spent fuel rods, there you go, they were able to blow it up. Okay. I usually can take breaks, folks, and get my wind back for here on air. But, Watson, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. You've got the floor. Give people the latest, at Prison Planet InfoWars. And you talk for 5-10 minutes. I'm going to go do some research on this and nail it down. But you've got to ferret this out. The Mark 1 was storing them inside, not the main containment vessel, but above that. What do they call the larger dome? The main containment concrete system. It's stored inside that, not in the main containment vessel within it. So we've got to ferret this out. What Richard in Vermont was saying. Is Richard still on hold, or is he gone? We had to drop him. And I'm trying to think through all this right now. Paul, you got the floor. Give me a break, okay? Go ahead.